Mr. McHale.
Hi, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Happy Easter.
It was nice to see you tap dancing a little there and improvising as I was trying to trying to figure out how to get online.
Is this the first time you've done one of these IGs or Instagram lives or?
I did one with Joe Coy that was accidental, where I was watching him live and said, "Hi, Joe," and then I was added,
Oh, he just
and
added you on
yeah,
without you even knowing.
and which shows you how old I am, which is very old. But now look at us. We're two middle-aged men chatting over video over a phone. Yes, it's the future.
This is what the kids do. And now we're slowly getting to know everyone's house, what it looks like. Like I know your couch very well now. That's a nice couch.
Yeah, that was a recovered couch. It is a hide-a-bed, which we believe one of the nephews broke and has been. We had to replace the innards of it, which was way more expensive than I thought it would be. So kids out there, don't break your hide-a-beds.
By the way, this is why people are tuning in for Couch Talk.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I'm nice to see that you dressed like it's a casual Friday, even or you look like a minister in a mega church who's not going to dress too up.
It is Easter. It is Easter. But don't worry, I'm not wearing pants. Are you? Are you wearing pants, Joel McHale?
I'm wearing shorts, but I'm wearing an apron. As you can see here.
Does it say "kiss the cook"?
No, because that would be a violation of the pandemic.
Okay.
You don't want to violate the CDC rules, so no, we stayed away. No, I cooked tonight, and I'm very concerned about grease spots. Oh, and you can see that I'm a fan of the band Talking Heads behind me. There's my
Joel. So,
please.
First off, were you a fan of this docuseries before they asked you to do this, or were you the one who actually said, "Hey, you guys should do this, and I should host"? How did this all kind of come together?
I received an offer from Netflix, and I had to kind of read it twice, going, "Well, why?" I asked. I probably should. I was like, "Why that?" I was like, "Okay, great." I was like, "Why?" Thanks for asking me. I think it was because the Joel McHale show that was on Netflix for a little bit, and I think they were like, "Hey, that guy could talk to some people on a camera." So I think, I was surprised and flattered because I know that if you hadn't heard of it by that point, then you were clearly living in the Faroe Islands, and that's no offense to the Faroe Islands.
Sarando still had you on his speed dial and thought, "I'll get that guy. He still owes me a couple episodes."
Yes, so I would believe me. I was very happy to do it because the show is fascinating endlessly, and I hear it's quite popular.
Yes, I think it's been #1 for the past 2 weeks, according to that Netflix top 10 that they now post. So
I do like how people go, "Well, it's because of the pandemic," and I was like, well, if that were the case, then every single television show or streamer would be gigantic because everyone's just sitting around. But for whatever reasons, everyone's sitting around and not sitting around. Probably they're running around, but they're watching this. So it's crazy.
So, and side note, by the way, since Community joined Netflix on April 1st, I see it's made the top 10 as well. So people are re-binging some classic McHale.
It's a very similar show. Very similar.
Well, let's talk about your thoughts first of all on Tiger King. I mean, what did you make of this documentary when you watched it, and what did you think of Joe Exotic, and whether or not he deserves to live the rest of his remaining days behind bars?
Well, the documentary, first and foremost, was about, big cats living in the United States in roadside zoos and private zoos and public zoos. And they said there's between 5,000 and 10,000 of them in the country, and that's way more than in the wild. And that is
insane.
A very insane number, and it's a really good topic to talk about. In that first moment of the documentary, when that guy has a snow leopard in his van, I was immediately interested, and the animals I think actually are the most important topic here because there needs some of them are abused, some of them are very well taken care of, but that alone was fascinating, and obviously the world and the culture and Joe Exotic and the small kingdom that he created is fascinating, and so are the other private zoos. There's no, I can't tell you. People ask me, why do you think it's so popular, and I can't tell you why the ingredients went together and made that thing so fascinating, but it worked. And
Yeah.
I think it's really good to put a large spotlight on these animals.
Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits out of all of this. But it is like train wreck TV basically. Like you unpeel this
Yeah,
onion and suddenly it's like it's not just about Joe Exotic. It's Doc Antle and his harem of women. It's of course
yep,
Carol Baskin and whether or not she
yep.
killed her husband.
I know they went after a lot of people, and there's no doubt that they are. I mean, that whole phenomenon, whether she has killed her husband, has also taken on a huge life of itself, and that I don't. Yeah, it's not surprising they're not very excited at all.
Yeah, yeah. Carol in particular does not seem to be a fan of the docuseries, and I do not think will be participating in any of Netflix's promotional campaigns. But
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
what do you think of all the people you talked to for this special? What did you learn, or what was the most surprising thing that you took away from some of your interviews?
I think it was talking to you and how you will not sweat through a single shirt from how many layers you have on.
It's
Uh,
like 40 degrees in here.
I think, I think Rick Kirkham he's such a good storyteller,
Yeah,
and
yeah. You kind of saved the best for last with him.
yeah, and he was deeply traumatized by what happened at that zoo, and also the thing he said about Rinky, about when Joe would leave, everyone at the park would become relaxed and it would become a happier place, because I think Joe brought on a mayhem that was successful, obviously, but brought in a mayhem that people had a hard time keeping up with, and everything from just his music videos to running for governor was fascinating. But
Yeah.
I think Rick Kirkman is a true storyteller, and he also sounds like he should be narrating books. Where's the script and who's
Well,
directing?
Kate McKinnon actually is developing a version of the podcast where she's going to play Carol Baskin.
Oh,
So
that's
there
really
are
good.
there are multiple. I mean, this thing. So there's a Fox has a TMZ special about Tiger King tomorrow. There's
Jeez.
Investigation Discovery is doing their own Tiger King series. There's the podcast. There's the Kate McKinnon show. I'm sure there'll be something that's adapted from this series. This isn't
From
going
this from
away
this from this Instagram live.
from this Instagram live.
Yeah, who's gonna
So
play you?
so I'm playing me.
Oh, all right.
So it's boring. It's real boring.
I'd like Ving Rhames to play me, just because I'm a big fan.
Yes. How are you doing, by the way? How's your quarantine? What are you? Do you have
Oh,
time to binge TV? What are you watching? What are you doing?
no, I've been killing myself with trying to get this thing out. No, I'm one of the judges for the Tribeca Film Festival, so I have been for the documentary part. So I've been going crazy watching documentaries, but which is great. But no, the quarantine
Yeah.
is. I mean, for and that people should shelter it at home. But compared to I was at the grocery store yesterday, and this woman was talking about her like third 14-hour shift, and so when like people are working their butts off while everyone is thankfully sheltering, but and people, I talk about people like, oh, I'm kind of going, nuts here. I'm all at home. It's like, I get it, but you are not a first responder. You are not an essential service. There are doctors and nurses that are, doing the Lord's work and fighting a war out there. So we're good.
Yeah. 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 So you're doing okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Um,
like I have so many friends that work in the restaurant business, and all those independently owned businesses are getting hammered,
yeah.
and there has to be some kind of help, because if this continues, there will be no independently owned businesses left. There won't be any. They'll have no revenue, and the rents will kill them.
Yeah. So you're doing your part, ordering out when you can,
Yeah,
helping. Yeah. Same. Got to do it. Um,
Yeah. If you have some extra money, order in from your favorite restaurants, and hopefully they're independently owned because it will every little bit helps.
um, I also saw you recently made a return appearance on Masked Singer.
Yeah,
You and Ken always
yeah,
fun to see you two reunite and bicker like old married couple. That's always fun.
yes. Once I figure out the rules of that show, I can't wait. I'm gonna get good at it. No, I really enjoy that show because it's crazy, and it's nuts. It's wonderfully nuts. I can't I always get it wrong, and because I'm terrible at recognizing people's voices. We're actually doing the live tweets or live. We're gonna live tweet it tomorrow night, or yeah, with Nick Cannon. So, but we also Ken and I started a podcast called The Darkest Timeline.
I saw that. So speaking of the return of Community to Netflix, so how are you guys? So you're doing that via Skype? How's that going?
No, he just comes over and we sit next to each other on a couch. It's very
You,
safe.
you hold each other. Yeah, yeah. No
Yeah,
social
yeah.
distancing between you two. So
No, yeah, we do it over Zoom, or no, we do it over Skype, and we put it up on YouTube, and it started out because we call it Ken's wife actually came up with the name Tran. She's very smart, and because Ken's a real doctor and Tran is a doctor,
yeah,
I was like, if we're gonna do this, we should talk. You know, the pandemic is the most important thing. And he is very good at distilling that information down, and he is actually way more up on it than a lot of people. And he can, in 2 sentences, explain, like he explained how that Hydra, I can never say it.
right. The thing that Trump does. Yeah.
The malaria drug. He explained in about 3 sentences exactly how it worked, and I was like, oh, that makes all that sense. But that sounds like a good therapy. Obviously, but Ken was also saying there's a lot of other therapies that are in development right now, and obviously. But so anyway, we wanted to start up with that and knew there would be community questions. And then Netflix, then that thing, then they released it, and thank God it's doing well. So, yeah, Ken and we have like 2 hour phone calls a lot of the time. So I was like, let's just move these phone calls into a microphone, and then yeah, so like
Cash in
everybody
on your
else.
personal relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've taken no ads at this point. So at this point, we have not monetized it or anything like that. So because I think him getting out that information, I mean, we will, believe me. I no, but him getting out that information is the way he does. I think is really important. And I need to,
Yeah.
and he asked me if I could save his career, which I am very happy to.
There you go. It's mutual. It's mutual. Speaking of community, I was just looking at some of the questions people had because they could text it in. Someone actually said Joel is so sexy, which is not a question. That's not a question, Michael Alini.
Thank you for not putting it into a question.
Of course, several questions about, all right, so now will we get the Community movie, Joel?
Oh yeah. I just wrote it. No, I know that there was. There's way more grumblings than there used to be, and I know that Allison she Instagrammed or tweeted that she got a phone call from Sony, and they still haven't called me. But maybe Matthew Lillard will take over. But I would say that there's a better chance than there's ever been, and Donald will be very available and totally affordable.
Exactly.
I know. I would say, yeah. I would say it's for a long time. I was like, never going to happen, and now I think with the renewed interest, and I know the cast is interested, that it could happen. And if we can finally get Steve Carell, then we're going to be thrilled.
Doesn't Dan have a script, or what is refresh my memory if he already
He
has
does.
something?
Oh, I think he's got an idea. Maybe he does have a script. This
Yeah.
would be news to me.
Okay. Well, then maybe it's just an idea.
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I know that he's obviously very busy with making. I think he got picked up for 6,000 episodes of Rick and Morty.
This is true. Yeah. He's doing all right.
He needs 8 or 9 arms and to write all that at once.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope it is. I do it in a New York minute.
A couple more questions. Someone wants to know what's the first project that you're going to focus on once you get out of quarantine? Is there anything in particular you're kind of
Uh,
next in line to do?
well, I know that Stargirl is just about to come out, which is a part of the DC universe. And I play Starman, and I have a rod of energy. So that was really fun to shoot.
We've known that for years, Joel.
Thank you very much. Boy, what's the first? I don't think I can say it, but there's a series that I would love to do that if it comes together, I'll be thrilled. It's at NBC Studios. So not at NBC, but at the studios. So if that thing was kind of progressing along, and if it continues, then I'll be thrilled, and I'll be happy to yell and scream about it.
And what's that?
Yes, go ahead. No, go ahead. I mean,
I
was gonna say my first project is gonna buy you a tie.
It's casual quarantine, baby.
See, yeah.
All right. So the closer question, Joel McHale, did Carole Baskin kill her first husband?
Now, I just started watching Carol's husband put out a YouTube video because I have a friend who staunchly believes she didn't. He's like, you got to watch this YouTube video. So it's because all the stuff about him being in Costa Rica and all that stuff, and he was kind of a notorious ladies' man, and that he had this plan to move the whole thing down there. Yeah, she probably did.
At this point.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. I mean, the evidence, they're obviously not happy, and boy, I talked to a guy who, before it all went down with the pandemic thing, he put a sign outside of his office that said, "Carol killed her husband. Carol didn't kill her husband," and that was for the FedEx people and the UPS people. Yeah. And they put all the packages under "killed her husband."
I've seen that photo, and
boy, yeah. What do you think?
Hashtag justice for Carol's first husband. I mean,
you think she did?
I just know what the documentary told me, and they sure made it seem like she did. So
that I 100%.
And his family, sure. I mean, and his family more than anyone else, I'm sure, has done the time figuring out what happened, and they all think so too. So,
I mean, it is insane the way people are talking about this show. I've never seen it. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. Maybe I don't know. Have you?
It's this and MASH, I think, are the two biggest shows in TV history.
Yeah, because what the other, I mean, Who Shot JR, going back to 1982, I think.
Yeah, it's this and The One-Armed Man on The Fugitive, I think. Those are the two. So.
What was the other murder documentary? The other murder documentary. Yeah, I mean that was pretty huge, but it wasn't of this level.
No. And I think there is some element of timing, obviously, because everyone's home and watching and talking about it. And the characters, people are having some laughs. But there's a lot of elements that are.
Yeah, I mean, but I was told that when this thing released, it immediately was popular. There wasn't a lot of warm up to it. And I heard, I mean, that's what I was told, but other shows you need to watch on Netflix is Norseman and Black Summer. Go check it out. After Community.
Deep cuts from Joel McHale.
Yeah, they're good times. They're good.
Well, Joel, thanks so much, man. Thanks for spending an hour of your Easter, 40 minutes of your Easter with me.
I would have it no other way. Holding up a phone and looking at another man's neck and chin is a dream come true for me.
I shaved for you, Joel. I shaved for you.
Wow. Did you shave your entire body? I hope not.
All day.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed my mood lighting here.
Yeah. The Chardonnay. A couple people want to know what Chardonnay you were drinking. So
yeah, I need to spice it up a little bit back here. Maybe turn on the lights.
Sundays with Joel.
Yes, it's my fireside chat.
All right. Well, one day I will see you in person again, but I won't hug you.
Yeah, we will. Well, is that a promise?
That's a promise.
Great. Well, thanks for the time.
Thanks, Joel.
Right on. Good to talk to you. All right. See ya.
Bye.